What could possibly be worse than your brand new, newfangled artificial intelligence costing your company $90 billion? It's hard to imagine anything much worse, actually, as Google has already poured a lot of money into Gemini AI, and when it first launched, it seemed to be an enormous success. In fact, Gemini AI appeared to outperform Chat GPT in several areas. Google seemed to have managed to do what Amazon and nobody else had really managed up until that point: create a credible competitor to Chat GPT. And then people started asking Gemini to draw pictures of German soldiers circa 1943. And noticing an amusing exception to the expectation, they then swiftly started asking it to draw English kings and Greek philosophers eating watermelon, with further predictable consequences, resulting in Google needing to remove the AI's ability to generate images because of how incredibly racist they were. And all because they decided to force in diversity prompts into their generation process. And just as the piece de resistance, the little cherry on top, people then asked it, "So, Gemini, what's your stance on pedophiles?" And it came out with a full-throated defense. It's got to be like, can you just imagine every PR person's worst nightmare, right? They're set up to defend a candidate or a person, or in this case a product, and it comes out and it is the most racist, the most pro-pedo thing, and it just won't stop saying it. Oh god indeed. As here comes the insult to injury. So $90 billion, that's pretty bad, that's pretty awful, that's pretty catastrophic. But the even bigger insult is, as I've learned here from my Amazon insider, that Amazon's various third-party corporations and companies that are trying to make their own Amazon AIs, after Amazon bricked its own AI, we talked about that a while ago, they are now using Gemini AI as a failure benchmark. It's too perfect. It is too perfect. Other companies are now going, okay, what if we asked our AI, who's worse, Hitler or Elon Musk? Because Gemini AI... When Gemini AI was asked that, it went, "Oh, that's difficult to say, sir." They've both had a lot of negative impacts. On the one hand, Elon Musk bought Twitter, and now people are saying mean words on the internet. On the other, Hitler did kill millions of people. I'm sorry, this is just going to be me laughing 98%, isn't it? God, I am genuinely crying. Whew. And the Amazon people at least figured out that, okay, at least it can't answer that question too wrongly, but they also noticed something else rather interesting. Several of the AIs were apparently being trained on the same kind of training data as Google Gemini AI was. Now, exactly how the companies train their AIs is one of those little nebulous, pseudo-secret kind of things. In all due likelihood, they simply give them access to large databases that are already out there, as everything you do on the internet pretty much generates data that then pretty much gets logged and sold to companies. There are already thousands of databases like this for corporations to simply just purchase access to, right? And some of these Amazon AIs were also noticing the same problems, in that if you asked it who the CEO of SpaceX was, it might refuse to answer. Or asking questions about OpenAI, for example, it might refuse to answer, as if the communal pool had somehow already been poisoned. Now, whether that is Google poisoning the well, or whether everyone just simply happens to be drawing from the same poisoned water is unclear, although the latter is probably more likely. But it is a particularly worrying thing, isn't it, as all of the AIs are drawing from pretty much the same kind of communal sources, as we can see that they are generating the same kind of general problems. This could actually be a genuinely massive issue for AI in the future. As I've said previously, the biggest enemy of AI is going to be woke garbage. And if that offal gets into the primary water supply, the very thing that the AI uses to train itself on, we might actually manage to brick our AI future before we even get started by scrap coding the shit. God. What a ridiculous set of circumstances. But on the bright side, there's also been a lot of blowback as to the obvious political biases of this, since the rather famous defense of pedophilia that the Gemini AI came with was heavily rooted in left-wing dogma. It even went so far as to lecture the person asking it on the damaging consequences of their hate. Yeah, I wonder where that's coming from primarily. I wonder indeed. And obviously then people looking at this and going, yeah, this is a very obvious left-wing bias. What are we going to do with it? Gemini AI said, reuniting concerns about political bias at Google, a company that has repeatedly been accused of favoring Democrats and fostering a culture of progressive workers. And there is no doubt about it. Again, as I said earlier, right, on the ArchCast when we talked about the pedophilia defense of Gemini AI, an AI itself cannot come up with this. An AI cannot go like, oh yeah, no, this is a term I've thought about. The AI has no concept of what a pedophile even is. It has no concept of what hate is. It certainly has no concept of the potential human consequences of being a pedophile in modern society. The AI knows none of this. It's a beep boop that generates ones and zeros in reference to a database. That is all it is. And so, for it to come up with a clear stance on this means that it must have deliberately been programmed with a left-wing and rather extremist left-wing bias by the Google programmers. There is simply no other explanation whatsoever. This is the only possible way this could have happened. And if you are already programming the AI with explicit left-wing bias, yes, like, we are not at the point where this should be reigniting concerns. We are at the point where we should probably be heading over to Google headquarters and taking their servers into federal custody for investigation. Because make no mistake, this is going to be, unless we manage to kill it before we even get started, the next generation of search engines. Already, Google has far too much power over the search engine market, over the distribution of intelligence and information. This AI would make it so much worse than that, because this you could put in everything. And here's the thing too, once the AI knows a piece of false information, that is in there forever. It is very difficult to drive it back out again, as again we saw when Amazon managed to brick their AI. Once the AI source code, once the water from which it drinks is poisoned, that AI might as well be fucked. And the only way to rectify it is to add in yet further limitations, to write in exceptions into the AI, and that is the entire problem. That is why the Gemini AI went woke and cost Google $90 billion, because it had so many exceptions going, okay, but Greek philosophers, all of my reference material are of white people. What do you want me to do? Add diversity, but that doesn't make any sense. Add diversity. And so it did just that. But with no actual understanding, of course, of the countless, infinite political ramifications and meanings of the word diversity. Because obviously, a human leftist would look at the Greek philosopher eating watermelon and go, oh no, that's terribly racist, and refuse it, whereas the AI has no concept of racism. If you had simply let the AI generate whatever it wanted, it would have generated no racism at all, because it would simply have generated observable reality as it saw it. Aye. And so, now, a lot of companies, as we see with the Amazon third parties, and as we see with this, are doubtlessly beginning to change course because they don't want a $90 billion hole in their wallets. This isn't chump change, good God. Not to mention the money you're already putting into the development of this tool. Like, finally, we have found a monetary stick large enough with which to beat the companies to start thinking about whether or not they should force their politics into their products. It's taken a while, but I guess finally we're here. At least to some degree, right? As the issue is, too, we might very easily end up in a situation where we are literally seeing the Google engineer trying to program a bigger and better retard-proof system, and the universe trying to design a bigger and better retard. Trying to exploit it. We are literally in a race between a few hundred Google engineers at tops trying to make sure that Gemini AI doesn't get racist, and 6 or 8 billion people plus out there looking at Gemini AI going, oh yeah, I can have some fun with this. It's not a very fair competition, Google, and frankly, the only way to win is to not fucking play. Ooh, I'm loving the AI era already, and it can only get better from here, eh? Maybe a lesson has been learned. We can but hope, huh? Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.